Hello, everyone. Welcome back to The Whole Truth. I'm Gil Arbel, your attorney at law. Um, Thank you for joining. I reused the settings from yesterday about the timeline of what we can expect going forward in the Tyler Robinson case. By the way, if my sound is off, just let me know in the comment section. Let me actually put this in front here so I can see all the comments. So I won't repeat everything because I went through it yesterday, but long story short, we're not going to get to trial in the next year, maybe even longer. That's the usual timeline. Anything can change. Really, it's up to the defense. If the defense wants to speed up the trial, he has the right to a speedy trial. The prosecution has a right for a speedy trial, but not as importantly as the defense. So it really, has to be the defense can't just unnecessarily delay the matter, but the judge is always going to err on the side of safety to protect the defendant's right to a fair trial. So any legitimate reason, the judge will grant continuance to an extent, but there is no hard and fast deadline. So, a year to 2 years after the bind over ruling is been my experience, but the defense can decide strategically, hi Juju, um, to speed it up. The victim has a say, but it really doesn't override the defense. So, or the victim's advocate rather. And yeah, number one, thank you. So that's basically the timeline. I know today is the due date. Hi, Mindy Ann. Special shout out to Mindy Ann and Lynn Pell, and Obscure Moderator and Eclipse Truth. Hi, Rana. They had my back today. I was a little bit pissed off during not because of Paramount Tactical. I love Paramount. I love Gary. But in the chat today, somebody was criticizing me, and I don't mind being criticized. I get criticized all the time. I don't care. But when somebody attacks me for being a bad lawyer, that pisses me off because I really, I kind of go out of my way for my clients, almost to a fault, to the point where I feel like I need to actually have a better work-life balance, especially in criminal defense cases. I obsess over my clients, which is why I really can't handle too many criminal defense clients at a time, because I really go out of my way. And thank you, Mindy. Yeah, so that just bothered me. Plus, he's like, says he watches a lot of trials on TV, and so he had a lot of criticisms. He's like, you don't even know what hearsay is, and I'm like, yeah, I do. I passed the bar. I actually, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I went to a good law school. I did really well in the LSAT. But yeah, that really did piss me off. Sorry, I'm trying to switch this. I know what hearsay is, and my actual kind of forte, if I had to say, was that I sometimes I don't know a statute number off the top of my head, or I can't remember the case name for a precedent off the top of my head. But what I'm really good at is logic and reason. And in particular, when it comes to pointing out flaws in other people's arguments, that really is yeah, it was hard. The California bar was hard. But that's really my forte. That's why I did good on the LSAT and why I tutor the LSAT. That's kind of my specialty. LSAT is all logic and analytical reasoning. So, anyhow, I don't need to bring that back up. I don't want to be a baby about it. I just, but yeah, I know what hearsay is. So, all that being said, I went live because we were on Ami Kozak's live. He ended his stream, and hi, Lynn. Yeah, I don't really plan these lives. If I have a few minutes, and if I don't have any court appearance or and I see that no one else is going live, I just I feel like it. I like it's mostly because I like interacting with everyone. It's not I don't always have like something super important to talk about, but I just really like chatting with you all. And again, special shout out to Lynn who just joined. She had my back like crazy. If you guys ever get into an online scuffle, Lynn is the person to turn to. She is badass. Um, Mindy also, but yeah, usually I do a special shout out to Mackenzie for being my number one fan, and I'll do so again. But today I feel like Lynn and Mindy especially deserve it. Um, so I wanted to see if so the prosecution has their reply brief due today. Now, usually you're allowed to file whenever there's a court deadline. You can file up until 11:59 p.m. electronically. Not sure if Utah has any different court rules or anything like that. If it needs to be filed paper form, then it's probably by 5 p.m. But hi, EJ. Yeah, thank you, and a special shout out to EJ also, who's she sees that my tech setup is not good, and she just volunteered to help out. So she is so sweet. Hi, Dirt Bike. Thank you. Yeah, Dirt Bike also came to get my back today. You guys are the best. I hope it never comes to this, but if any of you ever need a lawyer or anything, I mean, I can only practice outside of California under certain circumstances, but hit me up on WhatsApp. Uh, and let me tell you, my clients are really happy with my work on their behalf because they can see that I'm a fighter, and they can sense that. I mean, I'll sleep outside of a courtroom all night if I have to. If I mean that never happened. But point is that I fight for my clients. I really care for my clients. I consider it like a sacred duty. The lawyer client relationship, and especially criminal defendants. I go above and beyond, and so that's why I took it a little bit, probably overly personal. That said, so today we're expecting the reply brief to the defense filing. Don't expect anything earth shattering. This is real. It's not going to bring up new arguments. I mean, I don't know. I can't predict the future, but my prediction is not going to bring up any new evidence. I mean, it's not supposed to. It's not supposed to really present any new arguments. It's really supposed to just counter what the defense filed in their brief. Usually, reply briefs have more limited page numbers, page amounts. I was going. I'm not full screen right now because I feel like I'm probably going to bring up something on my screen, but I have nothing in particular. Let me check. Let me hold on one second. So let me first. Let me actually pull up. Let's check to see what Andrea Burkhart, because that's where I get my documents from. So let's see if it's been filed yet. The reply brief, that would be the. I already subscribed to it. I don't know why it's asking me. Okay, so one second. Let me hold on. I'm going to bring something up. Okay. So my question is, why is it asking me to subscribe? I already visited her Substack many times. And okay, there we go. Let me make sure this is, now you're seeing this. Okay. Andrea Burkhart is a great resource. I haven't watched any of her content, but she seems like a very good lawyer. But she's been keeping up with all of the documents filed in the Tyler Robinson case. So she is who I'm going for to see if the the prosecution filed their reply brief yet. I'm not seeing it. That looks like it's the preliminary hearing transcripts and discovery updates. So let me just ask ChatGPT if it's come out yet. I don't want all you all to see my clients. Okay. Has the prosecution filed a reply brief to the defense's bind over brief in the Tyler Robinson case yet? So it's still not filed. So, yeah, she seems like a really good lawyer. I follow her on X. Does she have a YouTube channel? Thank you, Juju. Oh, thank you, Lynn. No, I don't want to make a bigger deal out of it. He doesn't like me. That's fine. So we don't have that reply brief to go over. Lynn, by the way, again, special shout out to Lynn. She's awesome. Mindy definitely handled it too. What do you say? Let's see what's on X. Let's see what's going on. Let's again, I just do these lives to chat with you guys. I could go on X, or I could go through the case again. You want? I could go through the Tyler Robinson case. Yeah, Mindy. Yeah, I thought it would drop soon, but again, it could drop 11:59 p.m. There in California at least. Wait. Lynn's asking me to wait for something. And if anyone else is doing a live like LLC or Continue Freedom, just let me know. My wife's been following the Clancy case. I have not. I'm going to. She said that's really interesting. Some lady is screaming at me that the parents don't have an official statement to police. How do I check that, please? Well, they gave an official statement, but we don't know what the official statement is because I don't think it's been publicized yet. And they gave one. They were interviewed, but I don't know if it's been publicized yet. I don't think it came out at all in the prelim. What was brought up in the search warrant affidavit, or sorry, the arrest warrant affidavits were statements attributed to the parents from Mike Mitchell. So Mike Mitchell told the sheriffs that Tyler Robinson's parents said that Tyler Robinson admitted it to them. So it was kind of like through Mike Mitchell. So they are on record in the probable cause and charging documents. Those are sworn affidavits. Okay. I thought it came in through Mike Mitchell though. But let me check. And here's the thing is I looked through a lot of the sworn affidavits, but not the charging documents. So I haven't seen those statements. Let me use Andrea Burkhart's content or Substack. Hold on. Where did I guess I just exited out. Okay, let me use it. Because she has the charging documents. And so I will download it and let's look at the charging documents together. Completing the record of the preliminary hearing. This Substack by Andrea looks like it's just the transcripts of the prelim. So where is the rest of her? Search warrant affidavits. Let's see if that includes the charging documents. This looks like these are all the search warrant affidavits. Which, let's actually talk about the search warrant affidavits for a second. So Tyler Robinson himself, trace, prints, DNA, and personal effects. So that's for getting his prints, getting his DNA, and his, I guess, personal clothing items to search all that. That was the first, or no, I don't know about the very first, but the first one listed here. Next one is search warrant for, I believe this is Tyler Robinson and Lance Twiggs' apartment. The next one is for Tyler Robinson's Dodge Challenger. The next one is for an iPhone 14 with cracked screen. So that sounds like Lance Twiggs' iPhone. The next one is for Tyler. I'm assuming this is Tyler Robinson's iPhone because the other one had a cracked screen. Lance's did. And I think Lance gave them permission, but they still got a search warrant. Discord names. So this is for Discord and server IDs for those 3 usernames. Verizon. Oh, here's Tyler Robinson's phone number. Location data from Verizon. That's going to be so huge. So huge. It looks like they have a second one for the same. Oh, not for the same number. Location data. I can open these up and see who the number belongs to. One of them is most obviously Tyler. Maybe the second one is Lance. Maybe Tyler had a second phone, but I'm seeing 2 Verizon location datas for 2 different numbers. But I am seeing the account records only for the 632 number. So I'll look into that. Multiple digital devices search warrant, so that's probably like computers, tablets, other things that were recovered from Tyler's apartment. Another one, this one looks like it's also for the Dodge Challenger, but it says this second warrant clarifies the basis for the vehicle infotainment system. That might be huge. I don't know if I don't think 2013 Dodge Challengers have a black box like most modern vehicles do. That follows, all the times that you press brake and everything. But it seems like he had a accessory that was in his vehicle that probably tracks maybe Wi-Fi access and maybe also routes. So that's going to be huge. Google for his Google account, 2 Google accounts. That's, don't know if that's going to turn out much, but it might be very huge. Van True dash camera. That's the external hard drive dash cam that he has on his car. He'd be stupid if he left that on, but it might have been running. He did not do a good job of hiding what he was doing. Lumen Technologies. So this looks like the internet service provider for his home, or associated with Gmail. Return not included. That just means that the signed version is not attached here. Doesn't mean that it wasn't granted. It just means that we don't have it publicly available yet. And look, this is what Candace said. It's possible that Lance Twiggs was typing these text messages from the iCloud account to himself in order to frame his lover for some reason. Well, we'll find that out because we have a search warrant for Lance Twiggs' Apple and iCloud data. So let me tell you, if that was true, you know who would have gotten that info and presented it at the prelim? Tyler Robinson's defense. Now, one of the biggest errors that Candace made a lot of errors, just logically and legally speaking, during the debate. But one of the biggest ones, and I keep seeing this repeated, is that somehow the defense is precluded from presenting any evidence at the preliminary hearing. And that's just not true. In fact, if you have compelling evidence of an alibi, that's when you would want to present it. You wouldn't want to wait until trial. You know why? Because at trial, you don't know what's going to happen. Present it now at the prelim. Try and get your client out of jail now. Try and not get it bound over. You're going to wait. You're going to make him sit in jail for a year, 2 years. Jail is not fun. It's dangerous. You're going to make your client wait because you will have some strategy of a surprise for an alibi. That's stupid. And you wouldn't want to risk it because what if that surprise doesn't land with the jury for some reason and your client gets convicted? No, you try and bring that up at the preliminary hearing. A strong alibi, you bring that up at the preliminary hearing. You do not wait. Do not sit on it. And by the way, prosecutors have an ethical duty. They're not supposed to try to prosecute somebody that they don't think is guilty. That's another factor that is lost in this debate. Prosecutors are supposed to secure convictions of the person they believe to be guilty of the crime. Now, I'm not saying that this should be used as evidence, the prosecution is choosing somebody, therefore they're guilty. I'm not saying it like that. But I'm saying that if the prosecution knows of exculpatory information, that means that that would show that Tyler Robinson has an alibi, for example, they can be facing ethical I don't know if it would go as far as disbarment, but ethical consequences by the Bar Association for intentionally prosecuting somebody that they know is innocent. We know that under Brady, prosecutors have to disclose exculpatory information. But that also comes with there's other ethical duties for prosecutors. And if they have reason to believe that Tyler Robinson is innocent, they're not supposed to be prosecuting him. Their goal is not to just secure a conviction. Their goal, at least, is supposed to be to actually get the person who's responsible. And again, I'm not saying that therefore, just because a prosecutor or a district attorney's office charges somebody, that we should take that as evidence that they're guilty. No, they're presumed innocent in a court of law. But the point is that if anything came back from these search warrants that shows that Lance Twiggs was actually typing the text messages and setting up Tyler, they would have an ethical duty not just to disclose this, but to reevaluate if they're prosecuting the right person. So, hi Texas. I've been live 20 minutes. And again, I just kind of go live out of the blue. I don't necessarily have some really significant things or updates to make. I just really like talking with you guys. Mindy, you recommend getting a dash cam? Yeah. I mean, dash cams will help you if you ever get into an accident or something. God forbid. And it's not your fault. Hi, Velvet. Dash cams are good. Good thing. I should get a dash cam. But most cars nowadays come with inbuilt black boxes that you can get all collision data from. So, I'm just going to do my favorite thing, which is, thank you, Velvet. Nice. Yeah, I keep wearing the black striped shirt because that's like my favorite shirt. It fits me well, but I don't want I don't want to look like I'm just I only have one shirt. Dash cams usually point forwards. No dumb questions, Lynn. No dumb questions. Jujubee, yeah, you have road rage. It happens. Yeah, at TFCS. Yeah, and that's the point I make. If you're not in a jury or you're not a judge, you're under no obligation to presume somebody's innocent. And our system is designed that you're innocent until proven guilty, and I'm glad that's the right system to have. Countries that don't have that, end up being very corrupt because law enforcement can arrest people at will and then they're presumed guilty, without having to meet a burden of proof. But that doesn't mean that those of us in the public are not allowed to evaluate the evidence that's available and reach the conclusion that Tyler Robinson is guilty. For example, the fact that he text messaged that he's guilty. We're allowed to use that and use our brains and say, people don't usually text message that they're guilty unless they're guilty, which is why the text messages, in my opinion, just are the case. If it was the text messages alone without any sort of corroboration, if he was actually really good at covering his tracks and was not picked up by surveillance or anything else, then then the defense would have an easier time. They'd say this was the ramblings of a crazy person. But when the text messages are corroborated by ample evidence, extrinsic evidence, you're Tyler's screwed. Hi, Nine Toe. So really, that's why Candace Owens is saying that they're fabricated, because that's the only possibility. There's just no other way for a defense to get out of it except to say that they're fabricated. But you can't just say they're fabricated. Even the defense can't just say they're fabricated. They could say that the prosecution is not meeting their burden of proof to prove that they're not fabricated, but without any sort of evidence to support that they are fabricated, you're not allowed to just argue that. There's a presumption that when text messages are sent from your phone over a sustained period of time, that those text messages come from you. And this brings me to another point, which is that there's a difference between a criminal defendant, cannot be compelled to testify in a case against himself. And that goes along with the fact that if they choose not to testify, that can't be used against them. But that's not to say that a defendant isn't allowed to testify. And if, for example, a whole bunch of text messages are coming from your device that say you're guilty, if those were fabricated, I would put my client on the stand to say that he did not send those. Because otherwise the presumption is that he did. So he has to, without him saying that he didn't, there's no evidence to support that he did not. The man in the white shirt does not, yeah, I know, this is not my favorite shirt, but I can't wear the same shirt in every live, even if I clean it, because then it just looks like I'm sloppy. Okay, let's go through the case evidence again for the umpteenth time. But as you guys know, I'm fond of doing that because I feel like that's how you get familiar with it. So, 1 second, actually, let me see. Oh, now I remember. I was looking for the charging documents. Let me see if I have it saved. I do. Let's read through the probable cause affidavit and the charging document. And let me share that screen with you. You like today's shirt better, Lynn? I'm gonna have to respectfully disagree with you. I like my black shirt, but thank you. I'll keep it in mind. Okay, let me do this. Problem is, you see, okay, you know what? This is actually no good. Let me delete this one. I gotta open it with my Google for some reason. I don't know why Adobe does not show up when I open it with that. So let me open it with Google. Okay. Okay. So the first three charges were aggravated murder, felony discharge. This is the affidavit of probable cause for the arrest. Aggravated murder, felony discharge, obstruction of justice. They probably did another affidavit of probable cause for the other counts. Following information was obtained from your affiant, that's the person who's making this, who is Brian Davis. Okay. From police officers, multiple video recordings posted on social media websites, UVU campus surveillance cameras, and those who witnessed the incident. On September 10th, 2025, Charles James Kirk was at UVU campus in Orem for a political event. Mr. Kirk is a conservative political activist who was scheduled to speak at an event in the courtyard area of UVU campus. The courtyard area is to the west of the Lucy Center building. According to video recordings, Charles was, we know him as Charlie, wearing a white t-shirt, dark pants, sitting under a white canopy of the campus facing east. In the courtyard of campus facing to the east, the event was attended by hundreds of individuals. Charles was surrounded by people with multiple individuals to his left, right, and rear in front of the canopy. Behind the canopy was a walkway used for access to various parts of the university. Charles was holding a microphone and speaking to a crowd. While speaking into the microphone, a loud gunshot was heard at approximately 12:23, and Charles appeared to have been hit in the neck. Blood was seen coming out of the left side of his neck as he fell over to his left. Charles was transported to the Timpanogos Regional Hospital in Orem. Charles was pronounced deceased at the hospital. Investigators reviewed the UVU surveillance cams. While reviewing the cameras, investigators observed an individual on the rooftop of Lucy Center at the time of the building. Hereafter, the unidentified individual will be referred to as a suspect, or as suspect. Based on surveillance cam footage, suspect appears to be a white male with dark-colored hair, wearing dark-colored hat, sunglasses, long-sleeve black shirt with a picture of an American flag and an eagle printed on the shirt. Dark-colored jeans, white gray shoes with white shoelaces. Shoes appear to be consistent with Chuck Taylor Converse. Suspect is also carrying a dark-colored backpack on his back. Suspect walks with a distinctive gait. Prior to the shooting, suspect appears to walk with a stiff right leg and at a relatively slow pace. Suspect's ability to bend his right leg appears to be restricted. Investigators were able to track suspect's movements on the UVU campus. Now keep in mind that this is, when was this affidavit? This was on September 12th at 4. So, not sure how that fits in exactly with the timeline of Lance Twig's interview, the authentication of his of the text messages, the Discord chat, or the execution of the search warrant. I would suspect that all those things came after this because they were doing the probable cause for an arrest at this time, and then they used the evidence discussed here as the basis for the search warrant. But we'll see what is mentioned. Okay. Suspect's ability to bend his right leg appears to be restricted. Investigators were able to track suspect's movements on UVU campus starting at 11:50 on 9/10. At approximately 11:50, a UVU surveillance cam first captured suspect walking across a grassy area north of Campus Drive at approximately 800 West Campus Drive. Suspect walked south through the parking lot and approached a pedestrian tunnel that runs underneath Campus Drive. Before entering the tunnel, suspect paused at the top of the stairs and pulled out what appeared to be a cell phone from his right pocket using his right hand at approximately 11:53. So, curious to see what he was doing with the cell phone at that time. Suspect eventually put what appeared to be a cell phone back in his right pants pocket using his right hand. Surveillance captured suspect making his way toward Lucy Center. At approximately 12:02, suspect was recorded walking on the north side of Lucy, walking with the same gait as observed earlier. Suspect entered Lucy building through a set of doors of the southeast corner of Lucy Center building. At approximately 12:13 or 12:15, suspect was observed walking up the stairs that lead to the common area adjacent to Lucy. Suspect walked to a short concrete wall that separates the common area from the rooftop of the Lucy Center building. At approximately 12:17, suspect climbed over the short wall and appeared to crouch down on the north side of the roof on the rooftop. At approximately 12:22, suspect stood up and started running across the rooftop of Lucy Center. Notable limp from previous surveillance was absent. Suspect ran to the west side and appeared to scoot along the rooftop area as he got closer to the edge of the rooftop. This is the lateral crawl. At approximately 12:22, suspect laid down in a position consistent with prone shooting position near edge of rooftop, appeared to be facing west in the direction of courtyard. Rooftop of Lucy overlooks courtyard area where the event featuring Charlie Kirk was taking place. Lucy Center building is east of courtyard. At approximately 12:23, Charlie was shot. At approximately 12:23, surveillance shows that suspect stood up suddenly from the edge of the rooftop and sprinted north on the rooftop. Suspect ran to northeast corner and approached the edge. Suspect placed a dark-colored item on the rooftop and proceeded to lower himself off the rooftop. Suspect dropped off the rooftop onto the grass below. Suspect ran north near the parking lot to the east of Lucy. At approximately 12:24, suspect ran north across Campus Drive. Suspect appeared to be carrying an item whose identity is not clear from the surveillance. Area to the north of Campus Drive, where suspect crossed over, consists of a grassy area with trees on the edge of UVU. Investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a dark-colored towel. The rifle was determined to be a Mauser Model 98 30-06 caliber bolt-action rifle. Rifle had a scope mounted on top of it. Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices bulge OWO. What's this?" Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings. So that was the fired casing. On the 3 unfired casings, "Hey Fascist, catch." Up arrow symbol, right arrow symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. The second unfired casing read, "Oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow, Chow." The third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO." Investigators also discovered a shoe impression on the northeast corner rooftop edge of the Lucy Center. The shoe impression was located in the vicinity where suspect climbed down from the roof. The shoe impression is consistent with the shoe sole characteristics of a Converse Chuck Taylor shoe. On the evening of September 11th, 2025, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend, that's Mike Mitchell, who contacted Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. Information was relayed to Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at UVU. Information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators reviewed additional footage from UVU and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators, so when he was encountered in person by investigators on September 12th, he was wearing that clothing, because we know that he changed out of the shooting clothing, because he texted he did when he ditched the rifle. So he was wearing the same clothing, apparently. Oh man, just one more nail in the coffin. Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. Family member, who we don't know if it's the mom or the dad. Family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to 9/10, and in conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints he had. Family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. So the family member stated that. Family member, that might be a typo, saying the family member also stated that Tyler stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate, or could be not a typo, and that's what the family member said also. It's kind of confusing here because they're using family member, it seems like, for different members. Seems ambiguous. Family member also stated family member also confirmed Robinson has a gray Dodge Challenger. Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed the roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson, made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. The messages also refer to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope and the rifle being unique. Messages from the contact Tyler also mentioned that he had changed outfits. So, this Brian Davis kind of seems like he's confusing some things here, because I don't know if he's confusing things, but the way that this affidavit is written is somewhat confusing, because it says investigators asked if he would show the messages on Discord, and then it's talking about these text messages. Unless Discord has unless they're the text messages were through Discord, but I don't think that's the case. So it just seems kind of like confusing, but I think that's just these probable cause affidavits are written by cops that sometimes get a lot of things wrong. I'm sure the defense is going to point out some of these mistakes, but it doesn't really. He'll just have to correct it. Messages from the contact Tyler also mentioned that he had changed outfits. Based on the evidence detailed in the statement, okay, right. Everyone with me so far? Let me see if I have any questions here. X is a cesspool. Absolutely. Who are we talking about? Let me go up a little bit. 1 second. Nine-toe, you're Gemini? Me too. Juju, thank you. Thought it was myself. You guys want to make me full screen? Hi, Katrina. Wait, Mindy. I want to hear what you have to say about these people. I'm gonna come back to you, Mindy. Okay. Hi, Chrissy. Good to see you. Yeah, Nine-toe. Don't go to X. Don't go to X. Okay. I don't see any specific questions. Let's go on to the other filing. You guys, I love you all. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to just plug something in. Yeah, Nine-toe, you're forbidden from X. Stay innocent. No, honestly, it's like if you haven't been on X yet, or really any social media, that means that like you're living your life without it. And why would you want to make your life worse by getting into that? No problem, EJ. Thank you for joining. Okay. Can you guys see whenever I'm watching, I don't know why it does this. It always goes back a few minutes. Okay. Let's see what this information says. This is just the counts with the enhancements. Okay. And it looks like this is probably just a. Okay, let's see. Brian Davis of the Utah State Bureau of Investigation, having probable cause to believe that the defendant committed the above listed offenses, submitted the following evidence in support of the filing of this information. The information is just like a complaint, but prior to the official plea. On September 10th at approximately, I'm not. Okay, yeah, let's read it. I was gonna see if it was just like a complete restatement, but it looks like it's different. September 10th, 2025, at approximately 12:23, Charlie Kirk was shot and killed while speaking to a large crowd on campus of UVU. Police, that counts 1 and 2. Police found suspected murder weapon, bolt action 30-06 rifle nearby. Over next approximately 33 hours, police conducted a manhunt for the shooter until evening of 9/11, when Tyler James Robinson surrendered to police at Washington County Sheriff's Office. DNA consistent with Robinson was found on the rifle's trigger. After shooting Mr. Kirk, Robinson hid the gun. That's count 3. Obstruction of justice. Discarded the clothing he wore when he fired the rifle. That's obstruction of justice, count 4. And told his lover roommate to delete incriminating text messages. That's count 5. Witness tampering. And not to talk to police, count 6. Count 6 is the one that I think the defense will get thrown out. Children were present at time. That's count of time of shooting. That's count 7. Shooting, TPUSA, nonprofit, founded by Charlie Kirk in 2012, organized public outdoor event to be held at noon on 9/10/25 at UVU. Event was first in a series of similar events to be held at college campuses nationwide. Mr. Kirk is a well-known conservative activist, famous for these types of events where he discusses various political issues and debates with audience members. His events and comments have garnered a significant number of supporters and drawn the ire of many who disagree with his political views. That's relevant to talk when discussing the sentencing enhancement of the political motivation. The event at UVU was announced far in advance and garnered significant publicity and interest. Now, how far in advance? Because I've heard that it was only a few weeks. Consequently, several hundred people attended. Mr. Kirk was interacting with the crowd before the event officially got underway. Then, approximately at noon, Mr. Kirk seated himself under a portable canopy behind a table and microphone. He began speaking to the crowd and fielding questions from attendees, a format Mr. Kirk commonly used at his events. Mr. Kirk allowed his questioners to approach a microphone positioned directly in front of him. Mr. Kirk's team members were very close to him on his right and left, as well as some behind his canopy and others at various locations near him. The reason he's saying this, the reason he's bringing that up, is because of the aggravating circumstance, putting others at great risk of death. Large crowds surrounded Mr. Kirk on 3 sides. Temporary metal fencing separated attendees from Mr. Kirk by only a matter of feet. Again, this is for the aggravating circumstance. Directly above and behind Mr. Kirk was UVU Hall of Flags, an indoor walkway spanning several hundred feet with floor-to-ceiling glass windows which overlooked the plaza where Mr. Kirk was seated. People were in the walkway at the time of the shooting. Again, aggravating circumstance. Approximately 15 minutes into the event, Mr. Kirk was answering questions about mass shootings by transgender individuals when a gunshot rang out. Yeah, the coincidence there is just unbelievable. The bullet struck Mr. Kirk in the neck. He slumped to the ground almost immediately. Bullet's trajectory passed closely to several other individuals besides Mr. Kirk, including questioner who was standing directly in front of Mr. Kirk. That's an interesting point. Even the questioner was put at great risk of death. Children were visible near Mr. Kirk's stage when he was shot. Mr. Kirk was rushed to a nearby hospital where he is declared deceased. Medical examiner's report is pending. When was this actually submitted? We'll see at the end. UVU surveillance investigation. At the moment of the shot, a UVU police officer was watching the crowd from an elevated vantage point. As soon as he heard the shot, he began to scan the area for threats. Believing the shot came from a rifle because of its sound, this is probably Officer Bagley. He looked for potential sniper positions. He noted a roof area approximately 160 yards away from Mr. Kirk as a potential shooting position and rushed there to look for evidence. Suspected shooting position is adjacent to an open, publicly accessible walkway. You don't have to be Spider-Man. Jimmy Dore, you liar. Candace Owens, you liar. To access the suspected location, a person must climb over a railing and then drop to the roof only slightly below. UVU officer climbed over the railing and down onto the roof. He then walked into the suspected shooting position and confirmed a clear shooting corridor between the position and Mr. Kirk's seat. He also noticed markings in the gravel rooftop consistent with the sniper having lain on the roof. Impressions in the gravel potentially left by the elbows, knees, and feet of a person in a prone shooting position. Police reviewed surveillance from the camera covering the roof and discovered that it recorded an individual dressed in dark clothing cross the railing from the public walkway and drop onto the roof at approximately 12:15. Although the individual moved out of the camera's view for a short time, the camera again captured the individual running across the roof and then low crawling to the area the UVU officer recognized as where the suspected sniper had dropped into a prone shooting position, the lateral crawl. After a short time, which matches the known time of the shot, the individual arose and ran across the roof to the northeast. Discovery led to an intensive review of UVU surveillance recordings to attempt to track and identify the suspect. Surveillance revealed the following. At approximately 11:51 a.m., the suspect entered campus from the north. He is seen wearing black shirt with the American flag in its center, dark baseball cap, and large sunglasses. Throughout this surveillance, the suspect keeps his head down and rarely raises his head enough to get a clear image of his face. As he proceeds across the campus, he is seen walking with an unusual gait. The suspect walks with very little bending in his right leg, consistent with the rifle being hidden in his pants. The unusual gait continues until the suspect is seen crossing the railing off the open walkway and onto the roof, where he leaves the camera's view. The camera later captures the suspect as he runs across the roof to the suspected shooting position. Immediately after a shot was fired, a camera captures... Okay, you know what? I'm not going to read all of this. It's like 5 more pages. It's going to take me too long to read all of this. I'm just looking for statements attributed to Tyler's parents because that was the topic of the discussion. Robinson's mother stated the following to police. Okay, here we go. On September 11th, 2025, the day after the shooting, Robinson's mother saw the photo of the shooter in the news and thought the shooter looked like her son. If this is not true, Tyler Robinson's parents would be out and saying that. Candace is so stupid. Robinson's mother called her son and asked him where he was. He said he was at home sick and that he had also been at home sick on September 10th. Robinson's mother expressed concern to her husband that the suspected shooter looked like Robinson. Robinson's father agreed. This is so much more thorough than a lot of probable informations and probable cause affidavits than I've seen. Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, Robinson had become more political and had started to lean more to the left, becoming more pro-gay and trans rights oriented. She stated that Robinson began to date his roommate, a biological male who was transitioning genders. This resulted in several discussions with family members, but especially between Robinson and his father, who have very different political views. Yeah, I bet. In one conversation before the shooting, Robinson mentioned that Charlie Kirk would be holding an event at UVU, which Robinson said was a stupid venue for the event. Robinson accused Kirk of spreading hate. And I thought the evidence of the prelim was damning. I didn't even know about this. Robinson's father reported that when his wife showed him the surveillance image of the suspected shooter in the news, he agreed that it looked like their son. Oh, you mean Robinson's parents and lover and coworkers were better able to recognize Robinson than Candace Owens? Robinson's father, okay, yeah, he agreed that it looked like their son. He also believed that the rifle that police suspected the shooter used matched a rifle that was given to his son as a gift. Well, that's a coincidence. As a result, Robinson's father contacted his son and asked him to send a photo of the rifle. Robinson did not respond. We have Robinson text messaging Lance that his father was trying to get a hold of him, but he's not going to. Oh my gosh. However, Robinson's father spoke on the phone with Robinson. Robinson implied that he planned to take his own life. Robinson's parents were able to convince him to meet at their home. As they discussed the situation, Robinson implied that he was the shooter and stated that he couldn't go to jail and just wanted to end it. When asked why he did it, Robinson explained there is too much evil and the guy, Charlie Kirk, spreads too much hate. Why? Because he didn't like transfers? They talked about Robinson turning himself in and convinced Robinson to speak with a family friend who was a retired deputy sheriff. At Robinson's father's request, the family friend met with Robinson and his parents and convinced Robinson to turn himself in. The family friend spoke to police and reported telling Robinson that it would be best if he brought all evidence with him to the sheriff's office to avoid police having to search his parents' home. The family friend also asked Robinson if he had any clothes that were related to what he did. Robinson replied that he had disposed of the clothes in different areas. Okay, a lot of this stuff I'm going to skip over because we've talked about previously the text messages to Lance. Just trying to see if there's anything that I missed in my previous discussions about the text messages. Look at this text message. If I see, quote, notices bulge UWU on Fox News, I might have a stroke. All right, I'm going to have to leave it. That really fucking sucks. I don't think that was public information. I mean, again, the only way that he friggin' did it, but the only way that there is that he didn't do it and still all these text messages is if it is part of a conspiracy. There is no other possible defense here, but there's no evidence of a conspiracy. The best that Candace can say is that this is too on the nose. Yeah, well, sometimes criminals are stupid. You won't believe, when I was working at the district attorney's office, criminals would post videos of their crimes on Facebook. Those are usually like gangsters and stuff, but criminals are not smart most of the time. You know, the whole stereotype about criminal masterminds, it's very rare. They're usually pretty stupid. Okay. Yeah, I mean it's so open and shut. When was this? This was September 16th. Let's take a look at what's going on X here right now. Let me know again if someone else is going live. Hi, Mackenzie. One second, I just want to see if anyone else is live that I'm stepping on the toes of. Ooh, 2CTV is live, but that is not something that we can chat with each other on. He has like 1 million people watching, so. But I do recommend watching 2CTOUSI for all things Iran. Thank you, Audrey and Lynn, for liking my posts on X. Najib bin Nidam Eloud Giri has spoken. Candace destroyed him. Najib bin Nidam Eloud Giri. Candace destroyed him for sure. Anybody that thinks Candace destroyed Andrew Wilson is just an idiot. Tens of millions in 11 months. Not one piece of court admissible evidence. That is so true. Not one piece of evidence has Candace uncovered that is admissible in court. Not one. She has come across a few very tangential circumstantial evidence about possible motives. Do you know how many people had motives to kill Charlie Kirk? You know how many millions of people I'm sure we could find messages about that we could say had a motive. Motive alone is not enough to convict somebody. You need some evidence. So all this stuff about Israel having motive is irrelevant. And they didn't even have motive. Oh, I need to stop. I need to follow Jake Rattlesnake after seeing him clown Project Constipation. Chicks on the right. I'll take the lack of a plus sign over Islamic terrorism. Thanks. Yeah, Tucker Carlson's going off about Israel. What a surprise. Has he had one episode about any topic other than Israel? Oh no, I just realized my shirt is a little bit too Tucker-ish. Hey, Punch Munch. Don't know you, but nice to have you. Greg Otts, I know you. Good to have you. Sedona, I think we're actually making waves with Sedona, people. Sedona she seemed to be a candy cultist, but I think we're making some progress because she sees that we're honest people. So let's work with Sedona. I think that she's redeemable, and I'm assuming it's a she, just by the name and what have you. Demanding TPUSA and Andrew Colvette publicly reveal, this is from Obscure Moderator, publicly reveal private details about Miss Erica Kirk past by a hard deadline or else I drop receipts isn't journalism, it's borderline extortion. Actually, it might actually be extortion. I defended somebody from a case of extortion, and That might be. You're trying to get them to do something, um, or else you're gonna drop receipts, meaning you're gonna publicly expose some private information. I mean, I handled the most ridiculous case of extortion ever. It was like Alice in Wonderland ridiculousness. I was defending somebody from the like most ridiculous case of extortion. But and I should do an episode about that because it was like ridiculous. From the prosecution was ridiculous. But in any case, um, I yeah, this might actually be literally extortion, but I don't know if he's actually asking for anything of value. But I'll say it nonetheless. Actually, that might be literal extortion. Um, yeah, demanding that someone disclose something. I mean, it has to be for something of value to be extortion, but might be considered. Good point, Mindy. Good point. Yeah, Candace Owens calling Jews vermin and stuff. That's why I don't feel bad calling her vermin. By the way, she started it. Yeah, Natalie Beisner makes such a good point here. There's a difference between skepticism and then making accusations. Skepticism is saying, I haven't been proven, I haven't been convinced that Tyler Robinson is guilty. I mean, that's actually not even skepticism at this point because there's so much evidence. That's just refusal to accept things. But being skeptical, questioning things, that's one thing. But then you have to hold yourself to the same standards. You can't just be like, but without any evidence, I'm going to accuse Israel and Erica Kirk and TPUSA of being involved. That's not skepticism. That's the opposite of skepticism. That deserves a repost. Joe Kent is leaving the GOP to back Thomas Massey's third party. Didn't Thomas Massey just lose, like in his own district, as Congress person? I mean, what are they gonna think that they're gonna all of a sudden win after you just lost? Yeah, good luck. Good luck with that, Tommy boy, Joey. You demand to be taken seriously. Well, yeah, of course, Ben Shapiro. Well, Ben Shapiro would demolish Candace Owens in a debate, but to be fair, Andrew Wilson demolished Candace Owens in the debate. It just didn't make any difference, and neither would it make any difference if Ben Shapiro were to. So, what is this? King of X just did like I did a post. Or no, Mister Exclusive just did a long post listing all the hundreds of individual items of evidence in this case. I did something similar. For some reason, I can't have. Let me see. Why? I don't know why. If I'm playing stuff on X, it won't play. Need AC. Okay, time to get back to reading what's in the chat. Hi, Eclipse Truth. Everyone, give Eclipse Truth some extra love today. I can't tell from that tiny profile pic, Eclipse Truth. I'm going to say you're female, but if you're a guy, don't take offense. I literally cannot see your profile pic is like so tiny. But thank you so much. Eclipse Truth and Mindy Ann and Lynn Pell had my back like crazy today. I know all of you would have if you were there. But everyone, that's why I said, Mackenzie, you're usually like my biggest shout out for being my biggest supporter. Okay, sorry, Eclipse Truth. Don't take offense. Your thing is like, your profile pic is like this. But because okay. I assumed so. I just can't see like a a tiny magnifying glass profile pic. But Eclipse Truth, Lynn Pell, and Mindy were like, they deserve the shout out today. Mackenzie, I'm sorry. Every other time, you're my number one. Well, Texas, I'm sure you would have had my back too, but you weren't there. Oh yay, Mitchell Cohen, nice to meet you. Candace W. Oh yes, we got another candy cultist. That's good. Sedona, you're sending them our way. It's to help the algorithm. Thank you, Eclipse Truth. Yeah, I got a little bit more upset than I should have. I don't care if somebody like cusses me out or anything, but I took offense because somebody was saying I'm not a good lawyer, and I'm like, what? F you. My clients love me. My clients really love me because I like go out of my way for them. So that just kind of hit me. But is Mitchell really a candy cultist? Because last name Cohen, and you're a fan of Candace. Your last name is Cohen, and you're a fan of Candace. Come on, man, have some self-respect. Have a little bit of self-respect. It was at PT. It wasn't a big deal, but Lynn, Mindy, and Eclipse Truth totally had my back. It was awesome. Am I a dirty wop? No, I'm Jewish. I'm surprised. Anybody who's Jewish and is a fan of Candace Owens, that's you gotta have some self-respect. Sorry. She does not like you. Sorry, no matter how much you ingratiate yourself, she does not like you. She thinks you're vermin. See, there's idiotic Jews just like there's idiotic everybody. You know, we're no different. Anyone that is I think this is just a joke. Anyone that is Italian and isn't spinning a pizza doesn't make sense to me. That's not even funny. No, Italians eat pizza. Oh. Am I good with numbers, Chief? Yeah, I'm actually pretty good at math. I mean, no, you can't. Well, you could be Jewish and like Candace, but then you're just kind of an idiot. I mean, there's Jews that probably like Hitler. Um, I'm not Italian. I'm Jewish, ethnically. But I have no problem with Italians. Mm. Oh, wait, Mindy. How are you not a mod by now? Um, but I do not want anyone blocked just yet because they're good for the algorithm. Lynn, you're Italian? Nice. Nice. Let's talk about how 75% means Tyler Robinson must be found guilty. I assume you're referring to Andrew Wilson saying 75% he thinks that he's guilty. We haven't seen most of the evidence yet. We've seen a lot of the evidence, and I think in most cases he would have been found guilty just off the prelim alone. But Italian Irish, cool. That's like a badass combo. Well, who else is Italian Irish? I don't. My bare ass is on display. Oh. 1 second. I need to bust out my favorite. This is your leader. This is your leader. This is your leader. Mitchell Cohen. I did print out the sewer rat version. That was Save Smiles advice, but it didn't work out. It didn't look as good as him, as good as this. So I'm gonna do another sewer rat. You can talk about Jeffrey Epstein. I don't care. Um. Okay. You guys are my mods for a reason. I defer to my mods. You can block if you want. I just want to. I feel like getting in as many trolls as possible will help me kind of. I've never defended any genociders, Mitchell. Are you a bot? Come on. He's another roach. Okay, stomp him out. Do what you want. I give you green light. You guys are in charge of me. I mean, not in charge of me, but in charge of my my chat stream. About just a timeout. Yeah, you guys handle. Sorry, I don't want to micromanage. You guys, I delegate, but I just like I just like the idea of bringing in more trolls to boost the algorithm and stuff. Okay, yeah, Yeah, real people. Yeah, that is true. That is one of my requirements. You have to be a real person. If you're a bot, then I don't care if it helps the algorithm. And yeah, don't spam. Don't let me. Basically, all of you are basically all of you are now mods. So I don't know if that kind of defeats the purpose when almost everybody in the chat is a mod. But don't be offended if I didn't make you a mod. I just take me to your leader. Play the Ami video. Yeah, I was watching it and I will play it. 100%. 1 second. Let me go.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Ami's house. All right, join up in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts in this week's episode. We're going to be talking all things Andrew Wilson versus Candace Owens on the PBD podcast. I have some thoughts on it that I would like to share with all of you because I think a lot of people are missing the boat on, determining who won. Was it Andrew? Was it Candace? What does the poll say? Well, let's take a look at the polls there. We're going to talk about that. But
Ami's Andrew Wilson impression is probably the best out of all of his impressions. It's really good. You want okay, Velvet Lace. I'm gonna get some merch with the cockroach and the boot with that says truth. I'm gonna do some merch of that. But I just want to say, Ami's Andrew Wilson. I was really impressed because some of his other impressions. Yeah, subscribe to Ami. I just hit subscribe to him, but he does a really good one. So, anyways,
we're going to talk about this, and I love that we have these conversations. So, Patrick Bet-David, he hosted that, and we're going to talk about it. And I'm going to play a sketch for you. We're going to start off the episode with a sketch that's making the rounds right now on Twitter and across social media that I think sum up the vibe and the vibes and the feelings that I got from this conversation, because something did not feel right and something felt very off, and I think I know what it was. But I think we could start off with a little fun. I'll just play the sketch up top and then give you my my thoughts on the matter. Should we do that? Yeah, let's do that. Rob, can we play the clip that sum up the conversation that they had there? We're going to play the clip, and we'll basically redo the live stream. But
like his PBD is okay, and I'm don't hate on me. I like Ami. He's very funny, but certain ones he's better at, and I just think that his Andrew Wilson is like top notch, and he just started that, so I'll give him a lot of credit. I think he needs to work on his Tucker Carlson laugh a little bit. Okay, Velvet. Yeah, I trust all my mods. I just want a little bit of trolling if it helps boost my channel a little bit, but I'll stop micromanaging new mods. You guys are doing great. And again, thank you for having my back so much. But I don't know. I think Ami's Tucker laugh could use a little bit of work. but his Andrew Wilson is spot on, and that was like he did that. He just started it, so good for him.
Before we do that, just so you know, before we do that, I keep dipping into all these other impressions, which is going to happen on this episode because why not? It's too much fun. Be sure to join the Patreon. Look in the description below of this live stream. That's patreon.com/Ami Kozak, patreon.com/Ami Kozak. Check it out right here. I'll pull it up in the description of the live. If you look at the description below, you'll see that, and you'll also see the merch store. Let's bring it up. We got the merch store here, and
I'm gonna step away. I'm gonna let this play. I just need to check on my family, see if I have some more time.
You can go and pick up some of your favorite items. Check it out over here. We'll go back to this later in the episode, but boom, we got merch at thekozakstore.com. Thekozakstore.com. There's some merch there. Funny quotes, mugs, and the like. And we'll get back to that. We'll get back to that in a little bit. In the meantime, let's roll the clip of basically how this entire conversation felt as I watched it. And then I'll give you my serious thoughts on it. So let's roll the clip here. I love that. I think it's really important to have these conversations. So, Andrew, thank you for taking the time to be here. And Candace, thank you for agreeing to accept the $300,000 it took you to be here. I love that. So, Andrew, let's start with you. What's your question for Candace?
Okay, so my question is, do you have any positive evidence that Israel or Erica Kirk or anyone at Turning Point USA was involved in the murder of Charlie Kirk?
I don't understand the question. I don't really know what you're asking, actually.
If all you were disputing was that the evidence for the case against Tyler Robertson was not sufficient, I would be the last person to be challenging you. That's not why we're having this conversation. You have made claims asserting that you are 100% convinced that Erica Kirk is somehow complicit in Charlie Kirk's murder.
I actually never said that. I have said what I feel, and I've said what I believe that I feel, that I know that I feel, and that's what I've said, and I'm not going to change what I believe and what I feel and what I know. But I've never actually said that. You're literally putting words in my mouth that I have not said.
So what did you say?
I look, I'm not going to play this like game with you where you just like demand that I say things a certain way.
You didn't say that?
Okay, I don't know what this game is that you're playing, but like I've literally never said that Erica Kirk or Israel is complicit or involved. I mean, I've said that I feel that they are certainly responsible in some way. I've said that they are definitely complicit, but I've never said they're actually complicit. I've never said they're complicit. I've said they're definitely complicit, or that they might be, or that I feel that they may be, but I've never said they're complicit.
Okay, so you didn't say she was complicit. You said she was definitely complicit?
I literally never said that.
Because what you're saying is actually making my point stronger, not weaker.
It's just like you can do this whole routine, okay, of like asking me questions and interrogating me like we're in court, like I'm on the stand, like you're my daddy, like I'm your bitch. I'm not going to play that game, okay? But like I've never said those exact words. And I do have full confidence, and I stand by that I have full confidence, that I have 100% certainty that I know that I feel that. But I've never said that.
What I'm saying is that I find it very convincing that Tyler Robertson killed Charlie Kirk. And if you're saying you don't find that convincing, that's fine. But you're making other claims outside of that, claims that you have to back up.
It's literally not a claim. That's my opinion.
So your claims are baseless, basically. And you're just leading a cult.
I mean, it's literally not baseless because it's based on what I think and what I feel and what I know, and you're not going to control that. You can't tell me I'm not allowed to think and feel and believe what I think and feel.
So you think that Israel was involved?
All right. You can go watch the full sketch. It's making its rounds across Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, anywhere you watch your social media. But here's my thoughts, and then we'll get to some of your comments. Basically, I think that this conversation, this debate, was doomed to begin with. I think it was doomed to begin with.
That's what I've been saying. It was futile from the get-go. It's not my claim, it's my opinion, right? But again, if Candace didn't make any money from it, then it would just be kind of good for laughs. But the fact that she made money is just, ugh.
Because if you accept the idea, the framing of this conversation in the way that Candace wanted it, which was, okay, let's have PBD moderate and we will debate the merits of the case against Tyler Robinson. That is That's false. That's not what's been going on. Right? That's a false framing of what the issue is and why they're having the conversation to begin with. Right? Of course, Candace wants to make it about the case against Tyler Robinson because that gives her an out to avoid any pressure or interrogation on her claims. So that's the big elephant in the room throughout this conversation. Did you watch this debate as I was watching it? Didn't you all feel kind of exhausted, confused, not knowing where things were going? Yes, you did, and I did. And the reason you felt that way is because of this big giant elephant in the room, that the impetus for this conversation has nothing to do with the legal proceedings and the case against Tyler Robinson. It doesn't. It has to do with the case against Candace Owens. That's the whole point. But of course, she doesn't want to do that. And I guess Andrew accepted the terms of the debate to be focused on the case against Tyler. But I think that was a crucial, fundamental mistake in going into this conversation, because it's kind of under a false premise. It gives this presumption as if that's what Candace has been doing the whole time. It's just simply a disagreement over whether the evidence against Tyler Robinson is convincing or whether it's not convincing. But that's not why they're having this conversation. That's not why they're having this debate. That's not why everyone's watching this debate.
Yeah, Emmy's right. The terms of the debate were kind of poorly set out. She kept, and you know who actually has a good summary of this is Nick Fuentes, who I've been surprised. Me and Ami could be brothers. Oh, I'll take that as a compliment. Yeah, and Nick Fuentes, who I've been surprised, has been coming up with some good stuff, at least what I've been seeing on X. He's been saying some good stuff when he's going after Candace and Tucker. I like it. Anyways, he pointed out that the terms of the debate were not fair. She would just say, whenever she was asked to substantiate her claims, provide any evidence, she would just say, "What? I'm not allowed to think." Yeah, no one is stopping you from. No one's disputing that you're allowed to think, Candace. No one's saying that. No one's arguing against your right to ask questions. We're arguing against the claims that you've made, and we want you to actually back it up a little bit. Just a little bit. For $300,000, that seems fair. Hi, Tanya. Sedona, Nick Fuentes is he used to be known as just like the king of the Jew haters, but he's been coming up with a lot of reasonable stuff recently. I hope he changes his mind about Jews so that he can just join our side. I don't need him to love Israel or anything, but just stop with the Jew hate and join the side of light, because he's smart and he's funny and he's been right recently. And I'll take him over Candace and Tucker any day. Aruba, Tanya joining from Paradise. At least that's my understanding of Aruba. I've never actually been, but I'm jealous nonetheless. That sounds like paradise. You're lucky.
It's not relevant whether the evidence against Tyler Robinson is overwhelming or not. Because you know what evidence is not overwhelming? The ones that Candace has been putting forth. The claims that she has actively been making. The things that never materialize. It's really funny because her whole premise throughout the debate and conversation and throughout her behavior online has been, I'm just not convinced by the footage, by the testimony, by the confessions.
Mindy, I have discussed the types of immunity in relation to the Tyler Robinson case, the Lance Twiggs use immunity. But maybe that's a good idea. Yeah, I should probably have like a specific topic in mind when I go live instead of just like, hey, I want to chat with all you all. But that's a good idea.
By the turning, and I'm not convinced by any of that at all. It's 0%. I'm 0% convinced that it was Tyler. But you know what evidence is far?
Oh, Tanya's actually on vacation in Aruba. Lucky, Tanya, enjoy.
More underwhelming. It's far less overwhelming. You know what evidence is far worse? Anything that Candace has presented. So by the standard of we need evidence, she's been making assertions. And in the moment, she just evades all of that. And there are moments when Andrew tries to put the pressure on that, but it took a while to get
Andrew,
there because it was presented as this debate, as this conversation.
Of my knowledge of Aruba
About
the
Tyler Robinson case, the murder of Charlie Kirk by Tyler Robinson, and the case and the legal proceedings that have been going on. But that's the mistake. That is the mistake, because that's not what Candace has been doing, and that's not why everyone's tuning in to watch this debate. It's really the case against Candace Owens and her behavior, her immoral behavior, her wicked behavior, her making up things that don't materialize, that never have any evidence to support it. She's making claims and assertions, and then in the moment when pressured, she buckles. But by the time we got to that point, the problem is having this conversation and granting, the terms to say, let's debate the case and the evidence about Tyler Robinson. It grants Candace a certain legitimacy, a certain validity to what she's been doing that I don't think she's earned or deserves. She hasn't simply been trying her best to analyze the legal case against Tyler Robinson. That's not what she's been doing. She's been making her own case, which has far less evidence. It's far more nefarious and dishonest and manipulative. That's the center of this conversation, and yet that was a backdrop that was pushed to the side. And instead, they had this sort of facade conversation about, I don't know, a court proceeding, a legal case, the technicalities, all a distraction, which is why it started to feel so exhausted, because you're just like, wait. Why are we discussing the nitty-gritty details of a case? This isn't a court hearing. This isn't a proceeding. We're not watching two lawyers duking it out in court. Far from it. These are two non-legal experts having a faux conversation about as if they're, litigating, deliberating a case. And that's not something anyone's even interested in, because the truth is, it's still an ongoing investigation. It's still a case. And this is the leading suspect of what's been going on. And if our standard is we need evidence, there's far less evidence for any of the claims that Candace has made up until this point, implicating Erica Kirk, Turning Point USA, Israel, Bibi Netanyahu, Mitch Snow, Fort Huachuca, all made up nonsense. Bees, Egyptian planes, all made up nonsense. Nothing that.
Did Fort Huachuca even come up at the debate? I watched most of the debate, like almost all of it. I don't remember Fort Huachuca. Maybe like it got mentioned in passing, but Candace Owens was not made to back that up at all. I love that whenever Juju B mentions Sedona, she has the alien and the You know what? I'm beginning to think Sedona's actually on our side, people. I think Sedona's on our side. I think she just kind of likes to play around. Sedona, you're on our side. But still, go to Candy. Maybe you could be our inside person in the Candy cult. Get her to see my cockroach. No Fort Huachuca, not even once. I thought it was mentioned slightly in passing.
That materializes, and yet agreeing to have a debate about Tyler Robinson and the case against him allows her to hide behind whatever that case has yet to brought forth, whatever hasn't materialized yet in the case or hasn't been shown. She can hide all of her bullshit, all of the.
Not enough time to cover it. Well, no, there was. Maybe if PBD didn't go on tangent about double dates and stuff. we could have gotten to the Fort Huachuca nonsense. But she probably would have just been like, oh, I don't want to get myself in a legal pickle. Well, you already got yourself in a legal pickle. We paid you. You got paid $300,000. Back up your claims just for the money, if nothing else, just for the money, Candace.
The false assertions, the lies, the manipulations that she's done, she can hide all that because, we're just focusing on the nitty-gritty details of a case. That's not what she's been doing up until this point. It's not what she's been doing, and we all know that. And I guess Andrew agreed that in order to get to those confrontations, that's why he wanted to cross-examine. He had to go through this. But again, that's why it feels off. Something doesn't feel right, you guys. Something doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right because we're watching this and we're all bought into this premise. Okay, they're going to debate some case, which I guess Andrew wasn't as versed in as he could have been technically and couldn't have known all the nitty-gritty facts and whatever, but who cares? Candace doesn't care about what they're presenting in court. She had a conclusion that she decided to draw up from the get-go. From the beginning, since this happened.
Is Ami just taking my talking points and running with them? Because he's saying everything I say.
She decided, I'm going to make this about Israel. I'm going to make this about the Jews. I'm going to make this about the Israel lobby. I'm going to bring Erica Kirk into it eventually and try to destroy and torch Charlie's legacy, his personal and professional legacy. That's what she's going to do under the guise of being this martyr, this David for Charlie, all for grift, all for self-aggrandizement to build her audience and lead them along. And none of it materialized. There's no evidence to support it at all. It is all bullshit. But that's the fundamental issue here. They don't simply have a disagreement over whether the evidence against Tyler Robinson is convincing. That's not what the conversation has been centered around. That's not what people's issues have been with Candace's behavior, and we all know that, but yet now we're watching some sort of legal court proceeding, mock trial debate take place in front of Patrick Bet-David, and it's granting her a legitimacy that she doesn't have. Because this has been about her conduct, about rolling clips of Erica Kirk crying and going, I don't know, what kind of performance was that? Just really cruel, despicable behavior. And not offering any counter arguments, counter claims, counter evidence, just saying things. And then using verbal trickery to say, I'm 100% certain that that's how I feel. Okay, everyone's 100% certain about how they feel. It has no bearing on reality or truth. And that's what she revealed, because when she was pressed on these claims, she just cowered away and turtled away and just went, I'm not going to get myself into some sort of legal trouble here and going beyond. I've said what I've said. Okay, you've said what you've said. And we're not going to actually, knowing we can't actually pull up full entire episodes, but she always had a pivot to go back to, okay, but what about the case? What about, the overwhelming evidence you claim to have? So I think that was the fundamental mistake that Andrew made going into it, is because it's really completely irrelevant whether or not the case against Tyler Robinson is airtight and we have everything. It's an ongoing trial, an ongoing investigation. There's so much more there than anything Candace has brought up as an alternative. And he did kind of make that point several times that, you can think that it's not convincing. I can think it's convincing. Okay, but that was like an afterthought. That's the fundamental thing, and it presumes that that's what Candace has been doing, is simply debating the merits of the case. It's not what she's been doing. It's not what she's been doing, and it took an hour to get to that cross-examination segment in which Andrew wanted to press her on that, and when he did, yes, I think she failed those portions miserably. Asked her straight up about what she thinks about Israel and Erica Kirk's involvement in the murder of Charlie Kirk, and she just ducked and weaved and said, I'm not going to do this with you. She treated conversation and debate and pressure as if it was some sort of manipulative game that Andrew was playing, which is pure projection. Because yes, debates have tactics that everyone tries to employ and style, but she refused to actually support her own case.
Hi, Alita.
She said, I'm not going to say, you could just watch my show. So she couldn't actually back up the claim she's been making on her show over and over again, claiming with certainty that Tyler Robinson was a patsy, that Israel was definitely involved. She said that all the time, multiple times, over and over again. That's been the thing. She decided that was the case. She lied about the Hamptons meeting. She lied about the nature of Charlie's relationship to to the Israel cause. She's been releasing private text messages of a dead man who can't defend himself or explain himself. She was the one who started all that. How unethical is that? That had to lead to a whole bunch of responses of people releasing text messages. Suddenly it becomes standard to release private exchanges. What kind of friend does that? If you released my private text messages with close friends, if you released any of your private text messages with close friends, we're all going to hell. What people say in private, venting to friends, doesn't really have a bearing about their thought out public positions. And yet we've all forgotten that. Candace, to force.
It's another good point. That, Charlie Kirk, his private text messages, hi, Alita, his private text messages, venting, like, that doesn't represent his well thought out public opinion. We all say things in privately that doesn't reflect us, like the position we want to take in public, because it doesn't mean that that's more true or vice versa. You should really judge people by what they want to be judged by, which is how they act publicly and say publicly. And, if Charlie was getting frustrated behind the scenes on the pro-Israel cause, well, there is a reason why he didn't want to make that public. Maybe it's because he was just frustrated with individuals and he didn't want to make it sound like he was frustrated with the whole cause. Whatever the case may be, I think it is wrong it's wrong to put words in his mouth on either side. I don't know what Charlie was thinking in his heart of hearts on Israel, but I'm not going to I do know what he said publicly, and I'm going to give him credit for what he said publicly, because that's what he wanted to be known for. So, sorry, I'm a little lost in the chats here. Sorry if I trail off. But the point is that you should judge people by what they do publicly, I think, because that's what they want to be judged by. In private, do you want everything that you say in private to be what you represent? No, there's a reason why you keep it private.
People who were mourning their friend who was killed in the most catastrophic event we've seen in a lifetime. This public assassination that was heartbreaking. She forced people who were grieving, people like Seth Dillon, other close friends and family, to have to release their private exchanges to prove her lies wrong, because she just flooded the marketplace of ideas, flooded the internet with false conspiracies, narratives, and lies, while accusing everyone else of lying. So
who was it that suggested Ami Kozak in the first place? I'm sorry if I think you probably wanted the actual mock debate, and I just put on his most recent video. Is this what everyone wants?
Basically just pushed everyone into that corner. It was a terrible thing to do. She decided that this was going to be her grift, her MO. It's always been about her behavior. So that was my whole issue with this, was that this conversation was doomed to fail. And you even see the manipulative verbal trickery throughout, even at the outset of the debate.
All right. You guys, I like Amy. This is okay. You're cool with it. But somebody just suggested something from Artie that seems kind of interesting. Would that be okay for you all? His new debate video. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut this off. But I think that watch this one. I think this was what was originally meant by putting on Ami.
Okay, we're live. First of all, I wanted to thank both of you for sitting down to have the conversation. I love that. I think it's really important to have these conversations. So, Andrew, thank you for taking the time to be here. And Candace, thank you for agreeing to accept the $300,000 it took you to be here. I love that. So, Andrew, let's start with you. What's your question for Candace?
They're pretty funny.
Candace.
Okay, so my question is, do you have any positive evidence that Israel or Erica Kirk or anyone at Turning Point USA was involved in the murder of Charlie Kirk?
Wow. Honestly, I feel like he has Andrew Wilson's voice and he's just lip syncing. It seems like just he's got Andrew Wilson down better than any other impression. but PBD crotch mogging everyone is pretty funny.
I don't understand the question. I don't really know what you're asking, actually. If all you were disputing was that the evidence for the case against Tyler Robertson was not sufficient, I would be the last person to be challenging you. That's not why we're having this conversation. You have made claims asserting that you are 100% convinced that Erica Kirk is somehow complicit in Charlie Kirk's murder. I actually never said that. I have said what I feel, and I've said what I believe that I feel, that I know that I feel, and that's what I've said, and I'm not going to change what I believe and what I feel and what I know. But I've never actually said that. You're literally putting words in my mouth that I have not said. So what did you say? I look, I'm not going to play this like game with you where you just like demand that I say things a certain way. You didn't say that? Okay, I don't know what this game is that you're playing, but like I've literally never said that Erica Kirk or Israel is complicit or involved. I mean, I've said that I feel that they are certainly responsible in some way. I've said that they are definitely complicit, but I've never said they're actually complicit. I've never said they're complicit. I've said they're definitely complicit, or that they might be, or that I feel that they may be, but I've never said they're complicit. Okay, so you didn't say she was complicit. You said she was definitely complicit? I literally never said that. Because what you're saying is actually making my point stronger, not weaker. It's just like you can do this whole routine, okay, of like asking me questions and interrogating me like we're in court, like I'm on the stand, like you're my daddy, like I'm your bitch. I'm not going to play that game, okay? But like I've never said those exact words. And I do have full confidence, and I stand by that I have full confidence, that I have 100% certainty that I know that I feel that. But I've never said that. What I'm saying is that I find it very convincing that Tyler Robertson killed Charlie Kirk. And if you're saying you don't find that convincing, that's fine. But you're making other claims outside of that, claims that you have to back up. It's literally not a claim, that's my opinion. So your claims are baseless, basically. And you're just leading a cult. I mean, it's literally not baseless because it's based on what I think and what I feel and what I know, and you're not going to control that. You can't tell me I'm not allowed to think and feel and believe what I think and feel. So you think that Israel was involved? I've not said that they were involved. I've literally never said they were actually involved. I said they were probably connected and responsible in some way. Wait, hang on. You've literally said that thousands of times. I have not said 1,000 times that Israel was involved. You're just making up that number. You're just making up that number. Why don't you bring up my episodes? We can go back and count. You will not find 1,000. You're just making up numbers. This is how humans talk. It wasn't exactly 1,000. If you're going to say a number like 1,000, you should be able to back that up. Hey, Rob, how many people we have watching this?
Couple 100,000 live.
Hundreds of thousands?
Yeah.
Great.
I'm not going to get into this whole back and forth game you're trying to play where you're just like asking me questions that you feel I have to answer. I don't have to do anything. I'm sorry. I'm not your slave. Okay. I'm not doing anything. This is a debate. And I'm using intuition, and I'm inferring that things don't feel right. Things don't look right. And they never did look right. And I'm not going to just because you demand it that I give you answers. I'm not going to.
Everyone say hi to Kevin Toscano. He's a friend of mine. Checking out my live. Kevin, welcome to the crew. Everyone here is great.
Give you those answers and get myself into some legal trouble. It's obviously beyond what I'm capable of doing, and I've never made those kind of claims. And so I've said what I feel, and I feel what I said, and I said what I feel, and combine those two and you get seal. Kiss from a rose on the grave. Which grave? Charlie Kirk's. What? And I'm sorry, there's just something that doesn't add up about this story. You have 12 Israeli cell phones that day. You have Fort Huachuca. You have the surveillance footage. You have Tyler Robinson escaping with a limp, hiding under a tree where his rifle is, under that tree, going to a steakhouse, leaving a receipt. My source has the receipt. Who is it? Joe Kent, maybe, I don't know. And then maybe scat. Did you just scat? I'm a scat man. Skimmy-dim-dim-dum-dum-dum. A dum-dum-dum-dum. Skimmy-dim-dim-dum-dum-dum. Spin Okay?
Okay.
I don't know what else I could say. So you're just not standing by anything you've said.
Okay, I want to get back to that,
Wow,
but before we
he's good
do,
at
can we take a quick
scatting.
break? I want to talk about shoes.
Okay, sure.
I love free speech.
Oh, that was good. That was good. Yeah, he's got Andrew Wilson down. He's got Andrew Wilson down. You need my email? How do I put it? Should I? I'm not on X. Here, let me get on X real quick. Let me. I'm trying to get on X to email it. Okay. Trying to think of the best way to give you an email that would not dox my email. Okay. I'll type it in the chat. I'm on X, but do I need to get on X to see the direct? Is it like a immediate DM? Because I'm on my phone. Okay. You could DM me on X, but if it's something that I need to see right now, then let me know. Again, everyone say thank you to Lynn Pell. If you ever get attacked on X or any of these comments sections, Lynn Pill is the person to get your back because she comes hard. Okay, Velvet. Yeah, I have my laundry going on in the background. Okay. There's a couple here. I could give you my ex name. Yeah, I won't put my email. Lynn Cliff's Truth. Yeah, Lynn Pell. I could tell she was Italian Irish just by the way she was going hard. Hi JP6 Gunner. Rewatch if you want, but this we didn't we did do some content, some substantive content. We went through the probable cause affidavit and the information in the Tyler Robinson case. But other than that, it's been just me chatting. I just like to chat with you guys. I really do. And if anyone ever wants to do like a joint live stream where we can chat in person or anything, have your people call my people. Kevin, are we working on work comp cases? Kevin works with me. He does. Thank you, JP. Thank you very much. This is what I do when I need to take a break from work, Kevin. Thank you, JP. I appreciate it. I have fun. This is like this is me on X. That's my I don't. I guess not username, but like name or whatever on X. If you can't find Whole Truth 1-2. But if you're not on X, stay off X. X is so bad. So, tomorrow, by the way, 3 p.m., I'm going on Joshua Carr, unless he backs out last second. That should be cool. I have some questions I want to ask him. I want to ask him because he lives in the area of Orem, Utah. I want to ask him about some of the other locations involved in the Tyler Robinson case. Woo! You just mowed 5 acres? Alita, that is cray donkulous. Yeah, Lynn, we all love Josh Carr. He's just a genuinely good guy. No, Juju B, he wasn't a lawyer. He was somebody that just watches a lot of trials, and then he started going after me, and I'm like, bitch, my clients love me, okay? I'm a good lawyer. I don't want to sound arrogant, but I am a good lawyer. My clients love me because I fight for my clients. GMB is not a lawyer. No, he just watches a lot of trials on TV. So he asked me, he's like, do you even know what hearsay is? And I'm like, yeah. He is a lawyer? Oh. I thought he said that he watches a lot of trials on TV. You mean he is a Gary fan? Yeah, he's on our side in that, but like, I'll just, yeah. Kevin knows. Kevin, tell everyone how good of a lawyer I am. And Kevin helps me with my work comp cases. Oh, thank you, Alita. Thank you. I was probably being overly sensitive. No, Sabes, I don't think he's a lawyer. I think there was a response saying that he is a Gary fan, but not that he's a lawyer. Thank you, Mackenzie. You want to hear about that self-defense case? Yeah, I want to go through it. The problem is that all my materials that I could like present have their names, and I would have to redact it. Thank you, Rana. Thank you. And so yeah, without getting my clients and their past clients now, but without getting their permission, it wouldn't be right for me to show that stuff. So I'm gonna go through the material, like my closing argument and stuff, and change the names, so I can explain that case. Thank you, Kevin. But yeah, and I was actually thinking of having the expert witness I called to the stand in that case, because he was really good. He was very impressive. He does like security detail, which came up in the case. And so I was thinking of having a joint stream with him because he was really impressive. But yeah, I got to redact all the names from that case, and then I'll do it. I have another case that I would love to, which is that extortion case. most cases don't go to trial. So these are like my two favorite cases that I went to trial on. Um, thank you, so much, so many good fans, such support. Yeah, well, right now my baby is at she's at nursery care, which she actually really enjoys. So we were very happy to find that. And then my 7-year-old has a play date right now. And so I don't have anything that I really need to get done. I could work after this. So I'm just going to stay here until another person goes live that you guys want to tune into, and then I'll join you in the chat. But for the time being, I'm having fun and I don't have to go anywhere. Thank you, Velvet Lace. Thank you. Um, oh, let's check to see if the prosecution's filing of the bindover brief came out yet. Let's check it out. Yeah, not seeing their bindover brief. Let me ask ChatGPT if it came out yet. I'm going to be on with Josh Carr tomorrow, 3 p.m. Thank you, Alita. Yeah. After mowing 5 acres, I don't blame you, Alita. Get some ice cold lemonade or something. That will give us something to go through. No, that's PST. PST. Tomorrow 3 p.m. PST, which is my time. So I guess 6 p.m. EST. Bye, Juju. Yes, Greg. Correct. And I'm pretty sure it's alive, but yeah. No, it's 3 p.m. PST tomorrow. Yep. Yeah, state's rebuttal is due today, but that means it can come out anytime up until 11:59 p.m. and it looks like it has not come yet. So, does anyone else have like a good suggestion? What else can we watch? What else is good? I want to see. Somebody suggested Are You Trolls? Was it the live or the most? Let's watch Artie.
Hey everybody, how's it going? So Candace Owens got absolutely destroyed in the debate against Andrew Wilson. And yes, I say absolutely destroyed because, well, when Andrew Wilson asked her to provide evidence to back a single claim, she couldn't do it.
Have fun at the march, Lynn. Have fun. Stay safe. Keep up the good fight. Saves. I think most of Artie's videos are about candy, so this is the most recent one.
She did manage to prove and admit to was she had no evidence, and that everybody that emailed her all these stories, well, they're just that, stories. She doesn't verify anybody. She has no proof. She's got nothing to go off of whatsoever. That's what she had to admit during the debate.
You know what, Rhonda, that sounds pretty good. I might have to go eat too. But I'll watch this for a few minutes, but if I don't finish it, it's because I'm starting to get really hungry.
That everything she had was just theories. Even though she said things like Erica Kirk's a Black Widow, TPUSA betrayed Charlie Kirk. Erica Kirk betrayed Charlie Kirk. That they were plotting the murder behind his back. They met up at Fort Huachuca to plot this murder. That Erica Kirk was not where she said she was, and that they all had foreknowledge.
Yeah, well, I have fun. This is like my socializing. So, but you know what? I am starving, and I think that I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you so much for tuning in. I also need to check my emails and see if I got anything I need to catch up with work-wise. So thank you. I will see you all, I'm sure, soon. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Of what was going to go down.